Hi guys, my name is Dana, and today we are talking about listening to, right? And particularly about all these options that you can see on the screen. True, false, and not stated. Guys, these options in our exam in язык, we have in listening to, right? And false, not stated, those are quite often confused. So today about that, but before, let's get acquainted a little bit. So, as I've said, my name is Dana. Here on the screen, you can even see my surname, right? So that we're definitely on, I don't know, both names terms, right? I'm a senior methodologist and a teacher at the online school Учёба.ру. You can see some facts here about me, but in fact, the only important thing about me is that I'm absolutely in love with the language that we're studying with you here. And of course, I'm not alone, right? I'm with the online school Учёба.ру. So here are some facts about the school itself. 12,000 graduates. Guys, those are, well, a lot of people, right? And all of them passed язык and ОГЭ with the help of our school. Moreover, 4,200 students got 80 plus, which is a very good result for язык, and a 5 for ОГЭ. We got amazing teachers, some of whom you can see on the screen right now. But, well, actually, we've got lots of teachers. So, right, come and check it out yourselves, guys. Right, some really cool facts about us are that we guarantee you entrance to university if you prepare with us for 3 exams, if you do everything that we say you should, right? Don't miss any classes, do your homework, and all the mock exams. Oh, mock exams, by the way, those are progress checks, right? And those are really important for us and for you to track your progress. And of course, in English, we have different level groups so that you can study at your own pace, right? And we'll just look at the things that are really important for you specifically, right? Okay, and so we're ready, right? Okay, true, false, and not stated. That is the topic for our today's stream, right? Okay, guys, true. If our statement in listening to is true, we write 1 in our answer sheet, right? False, that's 2, and not stated, that is 3, right? So in our answer sheets, we only write numbers. Let's have a look at the actual task. Here we go. Right, so this task, this particular task, is from our demo version, and we are going to do it together with you today. As you always have the instruction here, but, well, let's hope you won't need to read it at the exam, right, as it's always the same. And if you're studying with us, at least with our YouTube channel, then you probably know what you have to do here by now, right? Okay, guys, now about the options. True, false, and not stated. They are quite clear, right? But still, let's maybe specify a little bit. What do all of them mean? So, guys, our statement is true. Again, 1, right? We write the number 1 in our answer sheet if our statement is true. How do we know it's true? Something in the audio, something that you hear, actually confirms, proves what is written in the statement, right? So, for example, A, right? Emma is very busy during her summer holidays. Emma should say something like, I don't have a spare minute, right? Or that she has lots of stuff to do, or something like that. And that is also during her summer holidays, right? So everything in the statement should be confirmed in the audio, should be proven. Right, and false, that is number 2, right? We will write the number 2 if our statement is false. And for it to be false, we have to find something that actually contradicts the statement that we see in the task. All right. So for example, let's take B, right? Emma has never had a summer job before. If Emma says, like, I've never worked in my life, that statement is going to be false because, no, sorry. Has never had a summer job before. So if we hear something like, I've had so many jobs, I don't know which one I like more, right? That is going to contradict our statement. Yeah, so something that is totally different in the audio from our statement in the task. That is going to lead to number 2, false. And not stated. This option, I think, is the most confusing, I guess, right? Because nothing in the audio should prove or contradict your statement, right? So if your audio, if the person in the audio doesn't say anything about the about the fact from the statement, then of course it's not stated. But usually they do say at least something about that. Yeah, they mention the fact, but just in a different context. Yeah, for example, I don't know, let's take C. Jason is going to travel to Morocco soon. They might mention Morocco, right? But not the fact that Jason is going there soon or not soon, or maybe he's been there before. They are going to mention some things from the statement, but that thing that they mention isn't going to prove or contradict the information in your statement. Then your statement is not stated, and you're going to write number 3 in your answer sheets. But guys, again, with all those with all those ideas in mind, let's actually practice, right? And through practice, we will understand all of these options better. Okay, right. The strategies. Yeah, that's what every teacher likes, right? The strategies of the exams. What do we actually do when we are at the exam, right? We see the task in front of us. What is happening? Well, it is really important before you listen to the audio to do some particular things. Number 1 is to scan all the statements that you have in the task for the main topic, so that you know what you're going to listen to, right? What you're going to hear about. Because without understanding like what is awaiting you, that is really hard to understand anything, right? So before we actually listen to the audio, while the presenter is listing instructions and all that, we are studying the statements, right, that are right in front of us. We are finding keywords that are number 2, right? Finding and underlining keywords in the statements themselves, or you could also sum up the statements. I will show you how I do it usually. 3, is the statement positive or negative? Guys, this is extremely important for us because, well, that's the whole point of true and false, right? If your statement is negative, for example, and in the audio you hear the same statement but positive, it's really important for you to remember that your statement was negative, to actually choose the right option, 1 or 2, right? So next to our statements, we always write plus or minus, right? You can, have your own strategy here, right? And for example, write only minuses, right, next to statements that are negative. And if you don't have a minus next to it, you'll understand that, well, it's positive. Yeah, probably. So it all depends on you, right? All of these strategies can be personalized, right? You don't just have to do everything I say as it is. Number 4 is only, unfortunately, only for the studying process, right? Speculate on how the statement can be true, false, or not stated. Well, just because you don't have enough time at the exam to do that, right? But if you do this during this, half a year left, right, before the exam, if you do this while you're practicing for the exam, you will understand the options better, right? And you will also feel more confident at the exam itself. So I do recommend doing them before while you're studying. But again, at the exam, there isn't enough time for that. Okay, number 5. Base your answers only on what you hear. Again, that is a very important thing to remember because, well, a lot of situations might lead us to thinking, okay, if this is so, that is the other way, right? And so that could lead to mistakes. We have to base our decision only on the things that we hear, right? Looking at it from the side, right? Not really analyzing anything here, right? But actually listening to the stuff, to the audio, right? And making our decision based on what we hear, right? Not on our background knowledge, right? Or on our opinion, God forbid, right? That is very important, guys. And well, number 6 is quite boring and quite obvious, but is very important, right? You have to check your answers. Guys, I cannot tell you how devastating, how frustrating it is when you've made a mistake just because you weren't paying attention, right? You wanted to write 2, you wrote 1, and then you're like, oh my God, but nobody's going to do anything about that, right? The only thing you wrote in your answer sheet, that's the only thing that counts, right? So please do check that you wrote what you actually wanted to write. And that's not only for listening to, that's actually a recommendation for the whole exam, right? Just check your answers. Because in stressful situations, we do tend to make mistakes, right? And those can cost us quite a lot of stress, right? Okay, and the maximum points that you can get for this task is 3, right? So it has been changed lots of times already, but for now you get 3 points for listening to. If you make 1 mistake, that's 2 points for you. If you make 2 mistakes, that's 1 point for you, and 3 or more mistakes, sorry, you don't get any points for this task. Right, so this task should be done well and perfect, actually, right, for you to get your 3 points. Okay, guys, moving on. This is our first task, right? We have already seen it. Now let's please study the statements, okay? So what do we do first? Right, we need our main topic, right? Okay, let's do it. Emma is very busy during her summer holidays. Emma has never had a summer job before. Okay, so I see summer in 2 sentences, all right? Jason is going to travel to Morocco soon. Jason is a very good cook. Okay, Jason has to buy some equipment for the trip. Jason has several social media profiles. Emma wants to see Jason's pictures of Morocco. Right, so there are going to be 2 people, right? I can see Emma and Jason. I'm going to use E for Emma and J for Jason, right? When I take my notes, right? And when I sum up my sentences, my statements. I don't think there is like a main topic here, but maybe this conversation is happening during summer holidays, right? During the summer, and they are sharing plans with each other, right? Emma is something about a job, Jason is something about this trip. We'll see, right? We'll understand more, but in general, I got it. Emma and Jason, right? They're talking, something is happening there. Let's try to underline our keywords. Emma is very busy, right? So we need busy and we need summer holidays, right? Emma is very busy during her summer holidays. Emma has never had a summer job before. Never summer job. Right? So it's important for us that she has never had a job before, right? But maybe she did have a job, just not a summer job. And we need it to be both, right? Never and summer job. So those are keywords. Jason is going to travel to Morocco soon, right? I need travel, Morocco, and soon, right? So if he traveled before, that's not what I need, right? I need future trip, which is going to happen soon. Okay, D. Jason is a very good cook. Okay, Jason, good cook. Jason has to buy some equipment for the trip. Okay, buy equipment. Okay, Jason has several social media profiles. Several means that not only one, right? And that's important for us here. Social media. Okay. Emma wants to see Jason's pictures of Morocco. Okay, Emma wants Jason's pictures, right? Well, yes, of Morocco. That's also important. If she wants to see his childhood photos, that is not going to be the same, right? Okay, we got them, right? So guys, this is how we underline the keywords, right? We think about what's important, what is like a deal breaker, right? Like Emma is very busy, right? Isn't very, that's all right. Yeah, during her, okay, doesn't really matter, right? But busy and summer holidays are our keywords, the things that we will need to actually decide if the statement is true, false, or not stated, right? And so with all of these statements, how do we sum them up? So guys, to sum up a statement, we need to write something next to it, right? And we can use both of these techniques, right? Or only just one of them, whatever works for you, right? So how do I sum it up if I want to? I'm going to write Emma, right? Emma, busy. Okay, I have a thing with the word busy. Again, those are all personal, right? For me, busy is always associated with a busy bee, right? So I might just draw a bee here, but okay. Emma, busy, summer, holidays, right? That's how I would do it. Maybe I would draw a bee here. Just something I do with the word busy. It's always associated for me with the bees. Emma has never had a summer job before. Well, I definitely need to write a minus here, right? And I would also write Emma summer job, right? So again, guys, you can sum them up, right? Like on the right. Or you can just underline the keywords and be okay with those, right? It all depends on what is convenient for you, right? If you're used to taking notes, right? If you have your own system, please do, right? It's really cool and convenient when you have like your own words in the task, right? But be very, very careful here, right? As to write everything that you need. It is going to make it easier for you, both of these techniques, right? To actually listen to the audio and not having to read the whole sentences, right, while you do that. Okay, are we ready to actually try this, guys? I think we are. Let's do it. Just a sec, I will turn the audio on. Okay, here we go.
Now we are ready to start.
Hi, Jason. I haven't seen you for ages. How are you?
Oh, hi Emma. It's so good to see you. I'm great. How about you?
Oh, I'm fine. So how are your summer holidays? As for me, I'm just bored. I've watched all the films I wanted to see and read all the books I wanted to read. I simply have nothing to do.
You can join a gym or find a summer job then. That will keep you busy enough, I'm sure.
Well, I'm thinking of getting a part-time job for the summer, but I haven't made up my mind yet. So, coming back to you, what have you been doing so far?
Well, I haven't been up to anything interesting recently, but next week my adventure will begin. I'm looking forward to it so much.
An adventure? That sounds exciting. What are you going to do?
I'm going on an expedition to the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. The aim of the expedition is to observe the everyday life of local people, but there will be opportunities for trekking and bird watching.
It sounds great. I guess it was not so easy to be accepted to this expedition group. Did they have many special requirements?
I can't say there were too many requirements. One has to be reasonably fit and prefer mountain huts to grand hotels. They were looking for people with some useful skills like cooking, first aid, or photography.
I didn't know you could cook very well.
I can't cook, Emma. I'm absolutely helpless in the kitchen. However, I'm a very good photographer. I also speak French, and fluent French speakers were also needed.
Do you need to take any special equipment?
All the necessary equipment will be provided, but I do have a list of things I have to have. It's quite long and detailed, so it took me a while to get them all.
I see. Well, Jason, I hope you have a great trip. I expect you to take thousands of pictures of Morocco. They will be very colourful and bright, I'm sure. Will you post them on social media?
I'd love to, but I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I'll be able to have an internet connection during my expedition. I expect to be offline for at least some part of my trip.
You'll show me the pictures when you come back then. I'm longing to see them already. How long are you going for?
It's 3 weeks. I'll give you a call as soon as I come back. We'll meet for a coffee and I'll tell you everything about Morocco, okay?
It's a date then.
You have...
Okay. Guys, I've been doing the task with you, so... let's have a look. Emma is very busy during her summer holidays. Well, I heard that she's actually pretty bored, right? She said something like, I've read all the books that I could read, right? So, not really busy, right? I would say that this is false, right? Because she practically said she has nothing to do, right? And that is the opposite of busy, guys. That contradicts our statement, so statement A is false. Emma has never had a summer job before. Not really sure, right? She did talk about part-time jobs, but only about her, choice, about her decision, right? She's trying to make it like, I'm thinking about it, but I haven't decided yet, right? So has she ever had a summer job before? I have no idea, right? And if I have no idea, that means that our statement is 3, guys, not stated, right? Because she might have had a summer job before. She didn't say anything about that, right? She might have never had it, right? She's thinking about getting one, about getting a part-time job, but we have no idea about her experience with them, right? So that's 3. Okay, you know what? Let's actually have a look at the transcript, right, together. It'll be easier for us to base our answers on something. And guys, looking at transcripts is actually a very good idea when you're studying, right? So if you didn't understand something, for example, or if you're not sure about your answer, just find the transcript of the audio you're listening to and have a look at the written text, right? It is a better idea to actually listen to the audio once again, right? And all those words you didn't catch, if you see them and listen to them at the same time, your brain is going to connect the dots, right? Connect the way the word sounds and the way it is written on paper, and that is going to will help you not only with this particular task, but in the future as well, right? That's actually how we study listening, right, in general. Okay, let's have a look. Our first 2 statements, right? Emma is very busy during her summer holidays. Let's find in the transcript where she contradicts that statement. Here, as for me, I'm just bored, right? I've watched all the films I wanted to see and read all the books I wanted to read. I simply have nothing to do. Right? Guys, having nothing to do is absolutely the opposite of being busy, right? So I've just confirmed that A is true. False. Emma has never had a summer job before, right? Jason suggests you can join a gym or find a summer job then. That'll keep you busy, right? And Emma says, well, I'm thinking of getting a part-time job for the summer, but I haven't made up my mind yet, right? I haven't decided yet. So coming back to you, that's everything, right? That's all she said about a summer job. So we have no idea whether she has had it before or not. That's why B is not stated. Nothing in our audio proves or contradicts this statement. Moving on. C. Jason is going to travel to Morocco soon, right? Emma said, coming back to you, what are you going to do, right? And Jason says, well, I haven't been up to anything interesting recently, right? But next week, blah, blah, blah. And Emma asks, like, well, okay, what about that adventure? What adventure? Sounds exciting. And he says, I'm going, right, on an expedition, blah, 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 in Morocco, right? I'm going to Morocco. Jason is going to travel to Morocco soon. And what about soon, guys? He says, next week, my adventure will begin. That is soon, right? Next week. So C is 1. True, right? Our audio proved the statement. It confirmed it. Okay, D. Jason is a very good cook. Guys, this one was actually very easy, right? I'm actually surprised at how easy it was. Let's have a look. They were discussing the requirements, right, for joining the trip. And Emma says, I didn't know you could cook well. And Jason says, I can't cook, right? So he did that like directly, right? Like, I can't cook, Emma, right? I'm absolutely helpless in the kitchen, right? So Jason is a very good cook. That is the absolute opposite of what he said, right? So D is 2. False. It's actually pretty rare, right, that they just directly said that, like, no, that statement is definitely false. They might have paraphrased it a little, right? But they didn't. Yeah, just, I can't cook. That's it. So that was easy. I hope every statement is going to be like that at your exam, guys. Moving on. E, F, and G. E. Jason has to buy some equipment for the trip. Emma asks, do you need to take any special equipment? And Jason says, all the necessary equipment will be provided. Guys, if something is provided, it means somebody else has already bought it for you, right? And is going to give it to you. So Jason has to buy equipment is the absolute opposite of that, right? So our E is 2. False. He doesn't have to buy equipment, right? Because it is going to be provided by the, I don't know, by some people who he's going with, right? By that expedition organizer or whatever. Yeah. Okay, F. Jason has several social media profiles. They did talk about social media, right? We remember that. Let's find it in the transcript. Right, Emma says about photos, I expect you to take thousands of pictures, right? And then she says, will you post them on the social media? I don't think that should be here. Okay, sorry. Will you post them on social media? And Jason says, I'd love to, but I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I'll be able to have an internet connection during my expedition. I expect to be offline for at least some part of my trip. And that's it. So, does Jason have several social media profiles? Well, we have no idea, right? They did talk about like posting something on social media, but Jason didn't say anything about having one or several social media profiles. So he might have several social media profiles, or he might have only one. We have no idea, so that statement is 3. Not stated, right? Okay, and last one, guys, G. Emma wants to see Jason's pictures of Morocco. Right, she said something like that, right? Right, she said, I'm longing to see them already. You'll show me the pictures when you come back then. I'm longing to see them already, right? Guys, longing is not really a very popular word to use, right, in just an everyday conversation. And it was here to confuse you and to scare you. Like, if you don't know that word, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do, right? But actually, if you think about it, then you might have got it even without this word, right? She says, I expect you to take pictures, right? Thousands of pictures. And then she says, you'll show me the pictures when you come back then, right? So we already understand that she wants to see them, right? This particular phrase, I'm longing to see them already, just proves, right, for 100% that she wants to see them. But we've had our suspicions before. We had our suspicions before that phrase, right? So G is 1. True. Alright guys, and we're done, right? That's amazing. Okay, let's take one more task, please. Guys, this task is from our last year's demo version, right? Let's have a look at it. Greg studied in Russia for a year. So, okay, Mary wants Greg to give her some advice. Okay, we have Greg and Mary. So I'm going to use G and M for them. Greg and Mary. All right, so what do we need in A? Greg studied in Russia for a year. I can see Russia, okay, like 3 times in the statement, so maybe it's something about Russia, but I can also see London, right? So maybe it's about traveling, yeah? The audio is going to be about traveling. All right, let's go through the keywords and we'll understand them better. Okay, Greg studied in Russia for a year. We need studied Russia for a year. Well, I need all of them, guys. Mary wants Greg to give her some advice. Okay, wants Greg advice. Mary still needs to get a visa to Russia. Still needs visa. Greg thinks Mary shouldn't take cash. Okay, shouldn't cash. Greg and Mary live in London. Okay, live London. Mary always tips waiters in restaurants. Okay, we need always. If she sometimes tips waiters, that is going to be different, right? Waiters. Well, waiters only work in restaurants, right? So restaurants are not so important here. Greg disliked Russian soups. Okay, disliked Russian soups. Both of them are important, right? Because they're also talking about London here, so we need Greg to dislike especially Russian soups, not all soups in general, or I don't know, British soups, or whatever, right? Okay, so yeah, it looks like they're discussing some particular trip, right? Mary still needs to get a visa, and Greg is giving her some advice, right? About tipping and about soups, right? I think this audio is going to be about traveling to Russia, right? We'll see. Guys, in this particular task, I would advise you to sum up, right? Because every statement is about either Greg or Mary or about both of them, right? So Greg study Russia for 1 year. Guys, 4 is also very important here because a year is only a number, right? 1. But if he studied there a year ago, that is going to be different, right? Okay, Mary wants Greg to give her some advice. So I would write something like, Mary Greg advice, right? So like I'm drawing the direction, right? Like Mary from Greg advice, right? So guys, again, all the notes that you take, either when you sum up the statements or when you're listening to the audio, they all should be your personal notes, right? Don't use mine because, well, it'll be hard to understand what you actually wrote, right? It'll be hard to use them. So come up with your own system. If you do that now, then at the exam you can use it and it'll be very easy for you to navigate through your own, I don't know, pictures or signs or letters or whatever you decide to write. You know? Okay, and let's listen to the audio then, right? We got all our keywords, we got the main topic, we got some summing up here. Let's do it. Okay, let me just find it a second. Okay, Greg and Mary, here we go.
Now we are ready to start.
Hello, Mary. It's so good to see you. How are things?
Oh, hi, Greg. I'm fine, thank you. What about you?
I'm okay, thanks. Congratulations on your summer holidays. I hope you are going to do something really exciting during them.
Actually, I'm going to travel to Russia.
Russia? Such a great choice. I spent a year in Russia as an exchange student and I absolutely loved the country.
Oh, I've clean forgotten you've been to Russia. It's so good we've met today then. I hope you can give me some useful tips for my future trip.
I'll be glad to be of some help. What would you like to know?
Well, let me think. I have got my visa already and I've booked my trip with the travel agency, so I guess I just have a few practical questions.
So go ahead.
Okay, the first issue is the money. Should I take cash or can I pay by my credit card?
If you stick to bigger cities, your credit card should be fine. In very small towns, paying by credit card or withdrawing cash can be a problem though.
Oh, I won't go to any small towns. The tour includes just big cities like Moscow or St. Petersburg.
Then you don't need to worry. You'll find exchange offices and ATMs at banks without any problems. If I were you, I'd take some cash just to be on the safe side, plus the credit card.
Did you have an impression that it's safe in Russia?
You can visit any place and peacefully walk on the streets. However, you can easily become a victim of pickpockets in the underground. So take care of your wallet and don't keep a lot of cash on you.
Well, no surprise here. London is just the same. What would you say about the food? Is it much different from what we have here in the UK?
I'm sure you'll find something to your liking. The only problem you can face is that they seldom have a menu in English.
Should I tip?
If you wish. Tipping is expected but not mandatory. In any case, check your bill before paying.
Which dishes did you like most of all?
Well, I thought soups were quite nice. Generally speaking, Russian cuisine isn't spicy. I think you'll like it.
Thank you, Greg. I'll let you know about my impressions when I get back.
Okay, have fun.
I will.
All right, we got it, yeah? Let's go back. Okay, so guys, just as in the previous one, we're going to have a look at the transcript, right? And base our answers only on the audio. Let's do it. Okay, A. Greg studied in Russia for a year. Well, he did say so, right? Let's have a look. Mary says, actually, I'm going to travel to Russia, right? And Greg says, Russia? Such a great choice. I spent a year in Russia as an exchange student. So he was an exchange student in Russia and he spent a year there. So he studied in Russia for a year, right? Guys, that was amazing paraphrasing, right? And our statement is 1. true. Sorry, that's an ugly one. Okay, that's not a one. All right, I can do it. Okay. Is that a one? I'm not sure. Okay, let's try it again. One. Yes, okay, that's one. Right? Studied in Russia for a year, spent a year in Russia as an exchange student. Right? That is typical paraphrasing for this task. And so our audio confirmed our statement. A is true. One. Okay, B. Mary wants Greg to give her some advice. Okay, let's have a look. Mary says, "Oh, I've clean forgotten you've been to Russia. It's so good we've met today. I hope you can give me some useful tips on my future trip." Guys, useful tips and advice, those are synonyms, right? And she said, "I hope you can give me." Mary wants Greg to give her some advice. Again, that is paraphrasing. That is one. True. Our audio confirmed the statement. Okay, C. Mary still needs to get a visa to Russia. Okay, Greg asks her, "What would you like to know?" And she says, "Well, let me think. I have got my visa already." Guys, she has got her visa already and she still needs to get a visa. That is typical contradiction, right? That is the opposite of what we hear in the audio, so that is true. False. Okay, right? All right, moving on. D. Greg thinks Mary shouldn't take cash. Okay, this wasn't straightforward. They've talked for quite some time about cash, right? She asked, "Should I take cash?" And he was like, "If you stick to bigger cities, then your credit card should be fine. In small towns, paying by credit card or withdrawing cash could be a problem." And she was like, "Oh, I won't go to any small towns." And he says, "Then you don't need to worry. You'll find exchange offices and ATMs and banks without any problems." But then he says something very important. "If I were you, I'd take some cash just in case." Right? So, guys, by this phrase, yeah, second conditional, if I were you, I'd take some cash. This means that he advises her to take cash, right? Greg thinks Mary shouldn't take cash, right? Here in the statement, we have shouldn't take, and in the audio, we hear that she should. So that is true, false. Okay, E. Greg and Mary live in London. There was something about London, right, when they were talking about safety. She asked, "Did you have an impression that it's safe in Russia?" And Greg said, "You can visit blah, blah, blah. Right, blah, blah, blah. Okay, everything is good." And Mary says, "Well, no surprise there. London is just the same." What would you say about the food? Is it much different from what we have here in the UK? Guys, very easy to get confused here, right? Because she says here in the UK. So probably they both live in the UK. But we have no idea if they live in London, right? She does say London is just the same, right? But that doesn't mean that she lives there. And that definitely doesn't mean that Greg lives there, right? But we have no idea. They might live in London, they might not. So our statement is 3. Not stated. Okay, we're moving on. F. Mary always tips waiters in restaurants. Let's have a look. She asked him about food, right? And he was like, "I'm sure you'll find something to your liking," right? And she asked, "Should I tip?" Greg says, "If you wish." Tipping is expected but not mandatory, right? This means that you can tip, but like nobody will fine you if you don't, right? Nobody will, I don't know, keep you in jail if you don't tip, right? That's all right. In any case, check your bill before paying. And that's it about tipping, right? She asked, should I tip? And he said, tipping is expected but not mandatory. So does she always tip waiters in restaurants? Again, we have no idea, guys, right? So that statement is 3, not stated. And the last one, Greg disliked Russian soups. This was pretty easy, right? He says, I thought soups were quite nice. Quite nice is not the same as disliked, right? Disliked is like he hated them, right? He didn't like them. And he says, I thought soups were quite nice. Okay, so that's the opposite, right, of disliking soups. So that is 2. False. We got it! Another one done, right? Okay, guys, I have one more for you. Are you ready for it? Let's do it. Sandra and Jim, right? Okay, I have Sandra, S, and Jim, J. Let's have a look. Sandra seldom studies in the library. Okay, we need seldom studies library. B, Sandra's father is a computer programmer. Father, okay, I have no idea if a programmer can be not a computer programmer, but can a programmer program anything else? But okay, let's underline both of them. Maybe they can, right? I have no idea. Okay, see, Jim advises Sandra to use the computer in the corner. Okay, Jim advises use computer corner. Jim has a younger brother. Okay, younger brother. Sandra thinks Jim should discuss his problem with his parents. Discuss problem parents. Right, and well, it's important that Sandra thinks so. Okay, Jim hates working in the library. Hates library, well, okay, working. And the last one, Sandra and Jim are going to have a coffee tomorrow. Okay, well, I think coffee tomorrow, right? And I'm going to write Sandra plus Jim, right? Both of them. Okay, so it looks like they're talking about working places, right? Different topics here, right? A younger brother, father is a computer programmer, so maybe about family a little bit, right? We also have parents here, right? And libraries. Okay, so working, family, and libraries, yeah, something like that. We'll get a better idea when we listen for the first time, right? Let's do it. Okay, Sandra and Jim. Here we go.
Hi, Sandra. It's good to see you here in the library. It's not that you come here very often, right?
Oh, hi, Jim. It's nice to see you too. In fact, I don't like working in the library very much. I find it noisy here. It's hard for me to concentrate on my work this way. I prefer to work at home.
So why are you here now then?
My laptop has gone dead, and my father will have a look at it tonight. He is good at repairing computers, you know. However, I need a computer right now because I need to do a presentation for my report tomorrow. That's why I'm here.
Don't use the computer over there in the corner. It has a nasty habit of playing up exactly when you need to save your document on your flash drive.
You're such a good friend, Jim. Thank you. As far as I understand, you come here very often.
Well, yes, I'm here every day after classes. I do all my homework here in the library.
Really? Do you find it comfortable here?
Well, it's not as noisy as at my place. My baby brother Billy often cries and makes a lot of noise. It's impossible to study.
Oh, I see. Your parents must be very busy with Billy.
They are. They can't even find enough time to talk to me. Sometimes I really think they love him more than me.
You don't say so, Jim. You have got great parents and they love you. It's just Billy needs much more attention than you at the moment. However, if I were you, I'd talk to them about the whole situation.
Talk about what?
Well, I think you should tell them you can't work at home because of Billy. I mean, because he's stopping you from doing your homework.
I don't want to upset my mother. She has enough on her plate right now, I guess. Besides, I don't mind working in the library. There are computers and a lot of books here, and I can always ask someone to help me if I'm stuck. So it's not that bad after all.
Okay, anyway, it's up to you to decide. Look, Jim, what are you doing after you are through with your work? We could go for a cup of coffee and catch up on each other's news.
That's a good idea, Sandra. I need no more than an hour to finish the essay I'm working on now.
I think I'll be able to get through with my presentation in an hour.
It's a date then. Let's get down to work now.
Okay, and we're done. Yeah? How are you feeling, guys? Yeah, it was very dynamic, I would say, right? A lot of answers very close to each other. So I suspect that we would have to listen to it the second time, right, if we were at the exam. But it's a good thing that we actually have a chance like that, right? You always listen to all tasks twice. Okay, but for now we have another chance, right, to actually look at the transcript. Here we go. Okay, the first one. Sandra seldom studies in the library. Okay, and in the audio we had, it's not that you come here very often, right? Jim says. It's not very often, right? So, guys, it's not often. That means seldom, right? But that says that's what Jim says, right? We need confirmation from Sandra. And she says, I don't like working in the library very much. I find it noisy here. It's hard for me to concentrate on my work. I prefer to work at home. So, that's true, right? She doesn't correct him that she doesn't come there very often. So, Sandra seldom studies in the library. That's true. Okay, B. Sandra's father is a computer programmer. She did say something about her father and her computer, right? Jim was surprised. Yeah, like, so why are you here now if you don't like it, right? If you don't like working in the library. And she says, my laptop has gone dead and my father will have a look at it. He is good at repairing computers, you know? And that's it. So, guys, if her father is good at repairing computers, does it mean that he's a programmer? That's $1 million question, right? Well, of course not, right? Usually, programmers can repair computers, right? Just speaking from experience. But do all people who can repair computers well have like the programmer education? Like, are they all programmers? Well, of course not, right? Because those are actually two different things, right? A computer programmer is a person who works with software, and a person who can repair computers, that's actually like physical work, right? You like do something with the computer physically. But that doesn't even actually matter, because she didn't say he's a computer programmer, right? So we can't really deduct anything here, right? She has to say that he's a computer programmer, at least in some words, right? If not in the same words, then in paraphrasing. She didn't do that, so he might be a computer programmer, he might not be. We have no idea, so B is not stated. 3. Okay, C. Jim advises Sandra to use the computer in the corner. I did not expect this phrase at all, right? Because they weren't talking about like which computer is better or worse, right? He just said out of nowhere, don't use the computer over there in the corner, right? But he did say it with like very directly, right? Don't use the computer in the corner. Jim advises to use. That is the opposite of what he said, right? So C is true, false, right? Something is wrong with my numbers today, sorry. Okay, we're moving on to D. Jim has a younger brother. Right. Sandra said, as far as I understand, you come here very often, right? And he was explaining why. Yeah, I'm here every day, blah, blah, blah. And she asked, do you find it comfortable here? Because she doesn't, right? And he said, well, it's not as noisy as at my place. My baby brother, Billy, often cries. Guys, baby brother is definitely a younger brother, right? Because, well, we can hear that this person is not a baby, right? He speaks in full sentences, wow. So Jim has a younger brother or a baby brother. Those are not synonyms, but that's paraphrasing, right? And in this case, these phrases are synonymous. And so D is 1. True. Okay, E. Sandra thinks Jim should discuss his problem with his parents. Right, so the problem being that Jim can't do homework at home, right, because it's very noisy at his place. Jim also didn't understand, like, what's he talking about? He asked, like, talk about what? But he said, if I were you, again, second conditional, right, I'd talk to them about the whole situation. He was like, talk about what? Yeah, like everything's fine. Why do you suggest I talk to them? And she said, well, I think you should tell them, right? That you can't work at home because of Billy. I mean, because he's stopping you from doing your homework. Yeah. So Sandra sees it as a problem, right? Well, Jim actually did say that it was a problem for him, right, to do his homework at home. And then she says, if I were you, I'd talk to them, which is a form of advice, right? Like polite advice. Yeah, like, okay, you didn't really ask me for my opinion, but if I were you, I would talk to them. And then she says, I think you should tell them. Again, right? Guys, that is 2 confirmations for us. I guess those 2 are enough, right? E is 1. True. And moving on to F and G. F, Jim hates working in the library. Alright, so Sandra just gave him advice, right, about talking to his parents about the whole thing with noise at home, and the fact that he can't do his homework at home. And he says, well, I don't want to upset my mother, right? She has enough on her plate. And then he says, besides, I don't mind working in the library. Guys, don't mind means that he has nothing against it, right? But even if we don't know this particular structure, this particular phrase, don't mind doing something, he does say after that, there are computers and a lot of books, right? Computers, a lot of books here. And I can always ask someone to help me if I'm stuck. So it's not that bad after all, right? So this phrase was already enough. I don't mind working in the library, right? But for people who don't know this particular phrase, right, don't mind doing something, they actually made it easier, right? They enumerated all the advantages, right, and then said it's not that better. Oh, sorry, it's not that bad, right? So, does Jim hate working in the library? Of course not. So F is, oh my god, okay. F is false, right? 2. Okay, I got it. Number 2. Beautiful. Right, because he doesn't hate, he doesn't hate it, he doesn't mind working there, right? It's not that bad. Okay, and G. Sandra and Jim are going to have a coffee tomorrow. So we needed coffee and tomorrow, and both of them, right? Sandra and Jim. Let's have a look. Sandra says like, oh, okay, right, it's up to you to decide, right? And then she says we could go for a cup of coffee and catch up on each other's news. But before that, she asked, what are you doing after you're through with your work? Yeah, like after you finish here, what are you going to do? Right? We could go for a cup of coffee. And he says, that's a good idea. I need no more than an hour to finish the essay I'm working on now. And she says, I think I'll be able to get through with my presentation in an hour. And he says, it's a date then. Let's get down to work now, right? So we do have a cup of coffee, right? So they are going to have a coffee. They are going to do it together, Sandra and Jim. But is it tomorrow? No. Guys, it's in an hour, right? In an hour, right? No more than an hour. So G is false. Because it's not tomorrow, it's now, in an hour, today. Yeah? All right, and we got it. Guys, 3 tasks today, right? Listening to, we got them all. I hope that this was useful for you, right? I hope it was useful for you to, I don't know, look at my process, at my thinking process, and also at tips on how to work with the task before you actually listen to the audio, right? How to underline keywords and sum up the sentences, and also about the options, right? That's the most important part. What options are true, what options are false, and what of them are not stated. I hope this was useful. That's it for the content, right? But just a little bit more about our school and how we study together. Друзья, подготовка к ЕГЭ по английскому языку в нашей школе проходит вот по всем этим фактам. Лекции и семинары, да? Но занятия 3 раза в неделю. Почему? Потому что у нас также есть разговорный клуб, да? Разговорный клуб проходит раз в неделю, и на нем вы можете практиковать свои разговорные навыки, что очень полезно и для нашего экзамена, и, в принципе, для английского. Я надеюсь, никто не учит английский только для того, чтобы сдать ЕГЭ, потому что у английского гораздо больше возможностей, да, и гораздо больше плюсов, и надеюсь, что вам действительно интересно изучать этот язык, и вы не учите его просто, чтобы сдать ЕГЭ. Вот. 3 раза в неделю, да, лекция, семинар и разговорный клуб. Также у нас есть домашние задания и пробный ЕГЭ ежемесячно. Каждый месяц вы пишете ЕГЭ по тому же формату, который будет у вас на экзамене, что важно, да, потому что вы практикуете не только английский, но и но и сами задания в том формате, в котором вы увидите их в экзамене. Это важно, это как-то снижает стресс, да, на экзамене, помогает подготовиться как-то к нему и, ну, по факту, да, к заданиям, и эмоционально. У нас также есть ограничения по времени, и, ну, в общем, мы стараемся полностью реплицировать экзамен, да, и вы проходите такие тесты каждый месяц, вплоть до экзамена, что позволяет вам тренироваться, опять же, как по факту, так и эмоционально. Что насчет заданий с развернутым ответом, да, вот не таких, как мы сегодня с вами изучали, а письмо, да, наше письменное высказывание и вся устная часть. Они проверяются не компьютером, они проверяются вручную человеком, как на экзамене, так и у нас в школе, пока вы практикуетесь и во всех домашних заданиях. По таким заданиям мы всегда даем развернутую обратную связь, да, чтобы вы понимали, где у вас были ошибки, почему у вас не максимальный балл или почему у вас максимальный, да, очень радуемся, когда такое случается, конечно, и пока мы учимся и на mock exams в пробниках, и, ну и, конечно же, на экзамене это тоже случается, чему мы радуемся вдвое больше. Ребят, подробная обратная связь очень важна для нас, ну, скорее для вас она важна, да, хотя для нас тоже очень важна, потому что с ее помощью вы понимаете, где вы допустили ошибку, как нужно было сделать так, чтобы этой ошибки не было, да. Мы обязательно даем рекомендации по тому, как это исправить, да, как можно написать в следующий раз, как можно сказать что-то в следующий раз, чтобы этой ошибки не было. И это, конечно, ну, самое важное в подготовке, да, чтобы вы понимали, как сделать лучше, да. То есть, фокус не на том, что: а вот вы ошиблись", да, а фокус в том: "Окей, как это исправить?" Да, и это клёво, это круто. Интерактивная платформа для подготовки, да. Все занятия проходят, на нашей платформе, да. Вы смотрите уроки, делаете там упражнения, домашки, наши семинары. Всё проходит на интерактивной платформе, где, ну, вы можете что-то потыкать, да, что-то где-то нарисовать, написать, записать аудио прямо у нас на платформе. Очень удобно. Также удобное, да, расписание и список дел. У вас в профиле всегда есть, то, что вы еще не сделали, то, что вас ожидает на будущей неделе и так далее. Очень удобно в том плане, что вы всегда можете спланировать свое время. Да, про интерактивные видеоуроки сказала. Вот тут на слайде можно посмотреть, как это выглядит. Это урок по русскому. Да, то есть вот у вас там есть вот тут кнопочка "Смотреть урок", да, а потом у вас задание после этой кнопочки, да, где вы можете потренировать то, что вы только что изучили с преподавателем в уроке. Да, задание, конечно, не одно, там будут скроллить, и будет больше заданий. Да, и, ну, тоже на этом слайде видно, что вы можете проходить уроки как на компьютере, так и на телефоне. Вот это, например, телефонная версия. Домашки с быстрой проверкой, да. Ну, рассказала про обратную связь, про подробную обратную связь, да, но задание, где нужно просто выбрать ответ, например, вам не придется ждать результата типа: "Ой, а правильно я там 2 недели назад сказала или нет?" Да, конечно, компьютер проверит, наша платформа проверит эти задания за нас, да, и вы сразу же увидите, правильный у вас был ответ или нет. И если он был неправильный, вы также увидите обязательно объяснение этому, да. Вот здесь это прописано как решение, да, потому что это биология. Вот, но в английском, конечно же, тоже вы увидите обязательно, почему ваш ответ был неправильным, да, и почему правильный, собственно, правильный. Практические семинары, да, проходят у нас онлайн, да, вживую, где вы можете задать все свои вопросы, где вы разбираете задания с преподавателем, точно так же, как мы сейчас с вами делали listening to, да, мы разбираем абсолютно все задания, и не только задания ЕГЭ, но и грамматику, лексику английского языка, да, потому что для заданий с развернутым ответом, например, нам нужно гораздо больше, чем просто знать структуру задания, да, нам нужно знать английский язык, чтобы выражать свои мысли на нем. Вот, поэтому это мы тоже обязательно практикуем. Ежемесячные пробники, про них рассказала. Вот здесь можно посмотреть, как это выглядит. Да, то есть если у вас ответ правильный, у вас будет вот такая точечка, если он неправильный, у вас будет вот такая точечка. А если это задание с развернутым ответом, то у вас сначала будет висеть вот так, типа мы проверяем, да, а потом вам придет обновление в стиле мы проверили, и вот ваши баллы, и вот ваш комментарий, и все, что мы для вас сделали. Удобные чаты с преподавателями, да, всем преподавателям обязательно можно написать в Телеграме. У нас также есть общий чат для группы, да, где можно пообщаться с одногруппниками, задать вопрос любого характера. Вот. И система уведомлений, да, чтобы ничего не забывали, ее можно подключить, ее нужно подключить на самом деле, потому что, конечно, у всех нас занятые жизни, да, а у вас, когда вы готовитесь к нескольким экзаменам одновременно, конечно, может что-то забыться, а чтобы оно не забывалось, мы сделали для вас систему уведомлений. Ребят, ну и подводя итог, да, успевайте обязательно до Нового года. Полный курс подготовки у нас можно приобрести по всем предметам, да. Ну и все детальки вот здесь написано, да, вместо 79 200 31 680, да, и также можно приобрести рассрочку, да, и платить ежемесячно. 6 месяцев, гарантия поступления. последние места. Да, гарантия поступления. Ребят, это последний курс, на котором мы можем гарантировать вам поступление в вуз. Вот. После Нового года будет уже не полный курс, но просто потому, что у нас остается очень мало времени, да, поэтому он будет сокращенный, и поэтому мы не можем гарантировать уже это поступление. Конечно, вы все еще можете поступить, но успеть до Нового года важно. Да? У нас всегда есть такие вещи, которые надо успеть срочно до Нового года. Ну вот, давайте все-таки успевать. Спасибо большое за внимание сегодня. I will be waiting for you at the online school, Учёба.ру, right? I'll be happy to see you. And please like and subscribe, guys. That's really important to us. So that we can make more content for you, right? And we'll meet here again. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.